Yeah, I worked for Lincoln Mercury for 24 years. And back in 95, I was hit in a bad automobile accident on the highway. I was sitting still and got hit from behind at full speed. And about 8 months later, my right side uh, paralyzed. I didn't have much use of it. So they had an immediate surgery on me. And we knew we had an injury down there, but we didn't know how bad. The MRI didn't see the spinal cord was damaged. So when he opened me up for surgery, I came out of it with my waist down, paralyzed, and they put me, and I was in shock. I was told 4 to 6 weeks at best I'd be 100%. Nothing wrong with me, no problem. I came out with the bottom half of me not functional. And there it began from lifting me up to trying to get me to take baby steps and helping me in extensive therapy, like major extensive therapy. And I was in a program for 4 to 6 months to where they taught me how to try to move my limbs. I had to think to move a leg where it would be a natural thing to you. Just get up and out of bed and walk over and brush your teeth. Well, for me, I had to try to move the limb and get my mind and look and try to force it. And I went from rolling out of bed, to crawling around the house when I was alone, where I had no help, to pulling myself up with my arms to eventually baby steps, being able to stand, and then beginning to walk. And then in the therapy, they would, move my legs and stretch them, and put me on machines that would move them and try to build all the muscle and strength back, because I didn't have the structure of my spine to hold myself up. I had to rely on muscle. And I had lost so much of it over the period of the operation and recovery period that I had lost 55 pounds. I was a pretty big guy. And long story short, every couple months they were into the sac of my spinal cord, injecting it with cocktails, they would call it, which would be steroids and pain medicine and what have you, to see if they could get the nervous system to heal, to allow me to walk. And after months of that, I began to move better, stand up on my legs, start to get them to move, and walking slowly. Posture had to be perfect. Otherwise, the pain level whether I had medicine in me or not, it just shot right up to 10, which is the max. And mentally, I had to overcome being in pain 24 hours a day, which was, a lot of lack of sleep, rarely sleep, and and then all the medicine that they had me on in order to try to function like a normal person was pretty extensive. So about 5 years later, in 2000, I was in the hospital on a relapse of the spine. Came out, did 4 months of extensive therapy, a lot of swimming, and I felt good. Thought I could put this behind me, and went to the doctor and told him, I'm ready to go back into work again and give it a try, because I'd work a few months a year and the rest of the time therapy in hospitals and surgeries. And on my way into work that day, at a red light, emergency vehicles were going through the intersection, and I looked behind me to make sure everybody was stopped, because I panicked. And as I did that, I said, thank God. And a 3-car pileup. The guy behind us hit us at 65 miles an hour, which put the truck into my rear end. and re-injured my spine and injured facet joints, which is facet joints of the bone in between your spine. You know, they were all bent. And if they bend even a hair, they're sitting on nerves. It just increased the pain. I couldn't even tell you how, how I even tried to deal with it. But during that period of time, I had to come back to Pennsylvania with family, where I had someone to look after me and help take care of myself. But after about 11 and a half years from the first accident and the second accident, trying to deal with that, you get into a mode to where you don't want to live anymore, because you're constantly hurting, your muscles are constantly spasming, and life, there's nothing, you don't see the end of the tunnel, you don't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's just pure misery. And after dealing with that so long, you start going to a suicide mode, and I ain't ashamed to say it, because people that have been in that situation will tell you the same thing, not even dealing with it that long. It wasn't for my 2 children and the love of my family and my 1 sister. I'd never be here. Never. I know that for a fact, But, and the 1 sister of mine, her husband's a doctor. So I'd spend 7 months up there at a time to 6 months and have extensive therapy. And my brother would do a lot of research on it and tell me what I needed to do and how to try to deal with it. And my sister was a big inspiration of my life. She put me in programs and took me under her wing, spent about $20,000 on me between therapies and doctors and psychiatrists and medicines, new medicines and stuff to keep her brother around for a lot longer, she'd tell me. And, that was a lot of money. There's a few $100,000 in my spine, probably pushing 400, but a lot of that is insurance, Quite a few came out of my pocket, probably nearly 100,000. But you're down and out and broken and sick, and eventually it happened to me after a period of time. I went through hundreds of thousands of dollars I had saved without no income, and when to see my sister do that much for me even made me want to try harder to make her happy, people that you love, my children. So 11 and a half years I went to a system in Connecticut with my sister where she lives, and her husband is a doctor. It's a big clinic up there. He has about 8 doctors that work for him. I got some relief to where I could live with the amount of pain. Not nowhere near 100%, but I can do some things, And problem during all that, a lot of times people will look at me and say, I don't see anything wrong with you. But they don't know what the inside of me is where the problem lied, not on the outside. The wear and tear showed from the injuries of going through all of it, but physically, if you see me in a good day, you wouldn't even know it. And since I'm, that I've gained back 35 pounds. I'm not saying I don't take medicine, but I'm not taking that medicine that I had to take before. And life has been so much better. I see the light at the end of the tunnel after that happened, you know what I mean? Because back then it was terrible. But now I'm able to function and have a nice life with my children. They went through a lot with Dad, and that's what kept me here for them. And I'll be darned, I never thought I'd see this day, to where I can deal with it.
That you're here, so you're just kind of just giving back in a way.
Oh yes. Oh yeah. I help a lot of people. If somebody would come up to me, even a stranger, with a situation of a problem that I could help, I'd give back without a problem. Whatever I could. I've done it. I've helped a lot of people. I've had them with problems that weren't the same as mine, and to where I've seen that I was able to put them on the right track or something, or make them feel better than what they felt at the time with what problems or medical problems they had, to understand that there is light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to go forward and make it.